Hello everybody, it is I, once again, the Marx engineer, and here we have my Marx 500 type engines. Now, I've heard that these engines go by a variety of different numbers, ranging from 590s to 552s, or 525s, or 522, just whatever, but I just call them the 500 class. And of course, the first one that I got out of the two was this one right here, albeit it did not look like this. Basically, all this engine really looked like it was just a normal, completely black Marx engine. It did not even have these side rods. These were later added on to the engine, as most of my steam engines I like to have side rods on, as it looks a lot more appealing than just straight up wheels. Because that's what this used to look like. I actually needed to drill into the wheel and then add this little screw into here. And I got a pair of spare side rods I had and just stamped them onto there. Not very hard, it's very easy, and of course the bracket, which actually holds the front part of the motor in place, that actually has little holes cut into it, or little slots cut in for these types of side rods to go into it. And of course this Marx 500 just happened to come with a Union Pacific tender. When I bought it, I actually got this as part of a set, and then I got it with a key, which was pretty cool. As to why I gave it the number 18, I honestly have no clue. It just seems like a good number, so yeah. And contrary to popular belief, this engine has not been fully repainted yet. It's one of the few engines that I haven't fully redone. The reason being because, well, the paint is actually in pretty good condition, even though there are a bunch of scratches, divots, and dents, and the funnel up here isn't exactly, spiffy silver like this one. I honestly don't mind it like that. And also because this one had a bell in it, when I wound it up and I had it run around, it went ding, 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 ding every once in a while, so I gave it a little bell at the front. And also, as to why it's yellow, well, Union Pacific's main colors are yellow, and I just kind of wanted this to be like an express engine, because that's pretty much all I really used it for. But when I got this, there is still a video of this thing running up before it had all these modifications done to it when I was part of a different train club along with the Lone Star High Railers. I'm still part of the Lone Star High Railers, but not with this other club. They were the Lionel Modular Group, and I was with them temporarily for that one train show. And when I got this engine at that show, and when I ran it around, a lot of people were very surprised by that this was a clockwork engine. They thought it was an electric engine, but they didn't realize how fast this thing could go. And still, this engine is the fastest wind-up engine I have. The only one that comes even close to being even within that range of speed is the 897 or 898. I really don't know. I mean, the only real difference between that is that one has these little thingies at the top of it and the other one doesn't. But we'll get into that in a different video. As for what basis the 500s are based on, the only one I can conclusively say would probably be the K4 Pacifics, as these engines have the exact same sort of dome placement. They also both have bell pair fireboxes, and of course they both have stepladder fronts. And there's one thing I know a few people have asked me, and that is why on earth I put buffers on the front of my engines. I mean, these are just thumbtacks, but the reason why is because 500s, as I've seen, have a very terrible tendency as to when they're, so their entire front section, as in the smoke box, steam chest, and the front pilot, along with the cow catchers, that's all one big plastic piece. And plastic that's over 50 years old isn't that tough. So when I found another one of these, I was originally going to get 3 of these because I did find 3. I found these 2 and another one. But that one had a massive split up the front, and it looked so bad. And I then found out from forum posts on some O-gauge mile railroading forums with Marx engines that these things are very prone to that due to the very weak and flimsy nature of the plastic molds, as they're more thicker around the sides rather more than the center. So as a way to combat this, I added these buffers, so that way, as opposed to getting hit through the center and causing that massive split, it's now being hit on the sides, spreading that, I guess, hit evenly throughout the front of the engine. Now, as this one is a wind-up and doesn't have a light, I added a jewel to the front of it. And it's worked pretty well. And if you notice, originally this had the number 17 inside the number board, which is up here, but for some reason I chose to go with 18. I have no idea why. Anyway, on to the electric version right here. It's pretty much the exact same as the wind-up version, the only real difference being that there's now a hole cut out in the front of the mold for a light in there. In fact, this one used to have a light inside it, but it got removed. And then the motor got swapped, as this one has a free-rolling motor in it. I'm planning on adding a dummy coupler to the front of it so that way it can hook up to other Marx engines and do a double header, but at the moment I just haven't done that. And this engine originally was completely all black. Also in another earlier video that I have, you can see that at the train show. But I later painted it this gray. This was my first attempt at actually making a decent gray color for a smoke box, even though I really needed silver like this kind, but I didn't have any. As I based the color scheme and the look of this engine off of the engine that I see almost on a daily basis and where I live, and that's, Frisco, Texas, that massive railroad town named after the railroad itself, which went through it. I think it's called the, is it St. Louis and San Francisco or something like that? I forget. But we've got a massive locomotive. It's a consolidation that just sits outside, and I used to work on that engine, taking care of it when I worked with the museum. I don't currently work with them anymore, but I'm still in contact with them. They're cool about it and everything. But basically, that's why this engine looks like it does. Also, it has a New York Central tender on it. That's not the original tender that came with this. This is a 551 tender, so I know this technically goes with this engine due to them being both of the 5 series. And also, but it's not the same tender that would go with this. This tender actually came with a plastic wind-up set, which I got from a friend named Joe. He's a really cool guy. I'll probably talk about him in some other videos. I mean, even as of this video, he is going to be selling me another Marx train set in very good condition. I'll probably do a video on it if I do end up getting it, which is, pretty high chance. But yeah, but these 500 engines, I mean, they're good, but like, I'd honestly classify them up there along with the Marx 999s as being the generic type engines, as there's nothing exactly really interesting or really unique about them. They're just kind of like standard workhorse engines. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed that little video, and I hope to see you guys in future. So yeah, peace.